Hi there. So I'm back again on the series on emotional intelligence. We have so far described and defined what emotional intelligence is. We have looked at the 5 components, the makeup of emotional intelligence, which are self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, social skills, and self-motivation. So now I want to go briefly into how we can improve or develop our emotional intelligence. Now remember, emotional intelligence is about your own emotions and the emotions of others. So let's look at our communication style. How do we communicate? Now, for us to be considered emotionally intelligent, it is advisable that we practice what is called an assertive style of communication. Now, an assertive communication style is that style where you are able to put across your ideas and opinions, be they negative or positive, without looking like you're attacking the recipient of this message. So you are putting across your ideas in a manner that is going to foster respect on both sides. So on your side and on their side. You are not watering down your communication. You are not giving. You are not going to sugarcoat, so to speak, but you are going to communicate clearly, concisely, directly, in an honest manner, but also bearing in mind that there is sensitivity that is required for the person who is receiving this communication. So, for instance, if I have a date with a friend, maybe a lunch date with a friend, and this person is late, and they come in and they walk in. We're supposed to meet at 1:00, and they walk in at about 1:30, and I look at them, and I'm clearly, visibly frustrated. I would want to say something like, we were supposed to meet at 1. It's 1:30. Now I only have 30 minutes for lunch, as opposed to you are rude, you are late yet again. So now our whole lunch date is ruined. Yeah, see the difference. So when you put across a message, trying to make this other person understand where it is you're coming from, or trying to own the situation. So like, I really would have appreciated if you had called me to reschedule or something like that. So there's a way we can communicate without being aggressive. There's a way we can pass across a message without looking like we are bullies, without looking like, hey you, so couldn't you have called? You should have called, or you should have, or, well, I expected this. Yeah, so that's how communication comes in. And when it comes to communication, again, we have to be careful not to look like we are judging people, or not to look like we are profiling people. By profiling here, it means you don't want to look like you're labeling somebody as or like you look, you're portraying that this, I know what your motive was. Your motive was to embarrass me or to delay me. You are not going to, that is not the message you're sending across. So when you're maintaining an assertive communication style, you are communicating that, hey, I wasn't happy, and I think we can practice this in future. If you think you're going to be late, just let me know, so that we don't find ourselves in this situation. So that's an assertive style of an assertive communication style, and it will go a long way, because a lot of times right now we live in a world where we are very big on what we call tell it as it is. Yeah, and yes, we need to tell it as it is, but you also need to practice a bit of sensitivity, because when you're using an assertive style, you're actually telling it as it is, but in a more sensitive manner. Unlike when you're using an aggressive style. When you're using an aggressive style, you look like you're ready to fight this person. You are actually either judging or bullying. You actually come out as a bully. So that's the way. It's the same way when you're communicating to your team. If you're not going to give your team an opportunity to, even when you're passing across targets in a team, or passing across a message in a team, there's a way you can communicate, and the team understands that they're part of what the expectations of the deliverables are. But then there's a way that you can communicate, and it looks like it's my way or none. So you don't want to pass across that message that it's my way or none. You want to pass a message that we are in this together. So something like, this is what I thought would work, but I welcome your opinions as well. Okay, so that's an assertive style of communicating. Now, I'm also going to go briefly into conflict management when it comes to emotional intelligence. Now, how do we manage conflict? We are always faced with conflict in our day-to-day lives. There's always one conflict or the other that is, that we find ourselves in. And some are not really that huge, but it depends on how now we engage our emotions. Because there's a way you can engage your emotions and escalate a matter. Or rather, you now get what you get is an outburst. But if you're working towards being emotionally intelligent, what you're going to do is practice calmness in any conflict. Not be too quick to speak, not be too quick to respond. Listen, understand, try to go through the conflict, and then now work towards a resolution. So when you're in a conflict situation, you're not going to be, the one fueling and attacking and saying, this is what should have been done, this is what. The question is, how do we move from here? This has happened. We now have this on our hands. Let us work towards a resolution. And that is how we manage conflict when we are emotionally intelligent, or when we have developed our emotional intelligence. So let's work towards trying to understand. Even in conflict management, I would say seek to understand to be understood. Conflict can be anywhere in any area of our lives, but there is a way that it can always be managed without causing undue aggression on both sides. So I hope today's session has been helpful. We will be continuing on this series. We'll go into other ways we can improve on our emotional intelligence. Today we've looked at conflict management, and we've also looked at our communication style. So do have an excellent day. Thank you.